Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another exciting clutch pull. Found another girl this morning that was laying early, so we're going to take a quick look at what I found this morning when she was just getting started, and then we'll take a look at what she has now and see how many eggs we got, see how they look. The first one looked great, but you'll see that in just a second, and then we'll take a look and see what the whole clutch looks like. Take a look at this. Well, look what we have here. She's not due for another 5 days, but I just checked her this morning, and there's one. And you see she's got another one coming out, and she is ready to fight. Let's check back in a few minutes. Well, actually a few hours, and see what we got. Okay, baby. She's coming at me. That's a good looking egg, though. Can't wait to see what we get. All right, so there you go. Isn't she gorgeous? Wasn't that cool to see her? She was not happy. She didn't trust me at all. She was ready to go. So I wanted to keep her or treat her really carefully. And now she should be done. It's been several hours since I interrupted her this morning. And so we're going to take a look and see what we got. I'm so excited. This is a girl that I hope will prove out. So let's see if I can bring y'all along for the ride here. She's right in here, so let's see what we have. So we open it slowly, and there she is. All right, she's not showing anything. She's tight coiled around those eggs, and she's watching me like a hawk. Give me a second, and we'll get her off these eggs. All right, well, I'm just trying to turn her around to set up here, and she is ready to kill me. Look at her. She's like flexing so hard she's knocking herself over. I'm going to try and turn this a little bit just so we can set up a better angle here. Oh, maybe now she's giving them up. They all look good. Looks like a pretty good, looks like 6 eggs from what I can see. And usually, time we get her off, she'll kind of calm down here, but she's looking at me again. She's gonna strike here. I'm going to try and move my setup over here so I can set the camera up while we get her off. But she definitely is ready to kill me. I say that obviously jokingly, but she's definitely in protection mode. So we'll set you up back here a little bit. Hope you don't mind the impromptu nature of this video. Let me zoom you guys in a little bit. This is part of what makes it exciting. Not that much. Sorry about that. This is part of what makes this exciting. Now, I've never gotten bit pulling eggs yet, but I've got a couple girls this year. They're trying to change that. Hey, mama, listen, look over here. She must be military trained because she's looking dead center mass at my body. She's following me. All right, calm down. Calm down. Yep, I'm not going to hurt you or your eggs. I'm going to take great care of them, I promise. There we go. Oh, what a good mom. And you can see there just how deflated she looks. Those eggs were taking up all that space. So always want to check just to make sure. And she looks great. No extra eggs. So I'm going to put her up here in a holding tub. Everything's out. And then now we get to do the fun part. So here we go. We'll set it up real quick so you can get a closer look as we pull them out. All right. So there you go. There you go. Six good looking eggs. They're a little stuck, so I had to work, so I couldn't get back here for a little bit, but look at those. They look nice, healthy. This is only the second time this mom has ever laid. She gave me 4 eggs a couple years ago, and actually was the smallest female I've ever had breed. Let's get a weight on these eggs, and then we'll talk as we look at the eggs closer. All right, so here we are. Hello. We'll get, all right, 614 grams. That's a great weight for this clutch. Let's get them in the box. Let's candle them. I'm going to try and leave them together. Hopefully none of them are turned and the embryos are all up and we can just leave them the way they're laid and not have to actually separate them. So let's get them in the box. All right, so we're back. Lights off so we can candle these beautiful eggs. And like I was saying, this mom actually, embryos on the side there, kind of on the inside. I think I'm actually going to gently separate this. This one's up, but most of these, they're on the side, which would probably be fine. We've talked about that before. I actually had somebody ask on one of the previous videos why the embryos need to be up, and the reality is that's still kind of a debated thing in the industry. I'm just trying to be really, really gentle here. It's kind of debated in the industry whether you really need to have the embryos up or not. Some breeders, I believe, have kind of, or at least claim that they've proven that that's not necessary. I'll say claim because people who have been doing this a lot longer than me have made that claim. I've just never tested it very well because if I don't have to, I don't want to take the risk. And so, since that's kind of been the longest held belief in practice, that's what I try to practice with my eggs here, just to get them all squared away and make sure that they're up to give them the best chance possible. So the other thing is, so everything bears some risk, right? So when I'm separating these eggs, there actually is a risk. And you may have seen some breeders who have done this before, who you accidentally tear the egg. That's why I'm very, very slow and methodical when I'm doing this. I don't want to tear the egg, although even tearing the egg, it's still not the end of the world. You can salvage that. I've never had that happen, thankfully, and hopefully I never will. But that's why I'm slow and methodical and very careful. This one came off very easy. But it was just rotate about 90 degrees. And so I just want to make sure that they're straight. I'll get these last two eggs here, and then I'll talk about the pairing and what's in here. So if you don't want to watch this part, you can fast forward, but you can see that I'm just nice and slow, using my thumbnail to kind of separate where they're stuck together. This one, all right, there it is. Oop. All right, and I was hoping that this girl, she's a little bit smaller than some of the others. I was hoping she'd give me at least 6 eggs, and this is what we got. And the great thing is, all of them look really, really good, really healthy, strong veins, which is obviously what we always want. So I'm going to get the lights back on here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the egg box because I had a question from one of my Facebook followers today, so I just thought I'd put a little bit more information out here for anybody else that wants to learn. So give me a second, we'll get the lights on and be right back. All right, so if you've ever wanted to know how to set up an egg box, here's what that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, I prepared this egg box last week. I prepared a bunch of them. I have a lot of empty egg boxes already in the incubator so that they can get up to temperature before, so the substrate's all up to temperature and everything before I put the eggs in them. So I actually had this morning before I'm filming this, I had a follower on Facebook reach out to me. He's a first-time breeder, got a clutch of eggs that he wasn't expecting and wasn't ready, didn't have an incubator set up, so he's feverishly trying to order stuff, and he's trying to salvage and make sure he can save the eggs. At least one of them already gone bad. So I thought, well, let me talk about how you set up an egg box, just in case some people want to know. I already set up 6 the other day. I guess I should have filmed that and talked about it, but this is just the way it happened. So I'm going to show you the egg box again. I don't want you to be looking at my mug the whole time, but you can see this material here is vermiculite. This is grade A1. That's all that my feed store had when I got this. This is my 3rd season using this giant bag. It's definitely one of the most cost-effective ways to go. And I put it on the scale and I measure roughly 300 grams of vermiculite, and then I put in 300 grams of water, 1-to-1 ratio. And what you'll do is you can squeeze that in your hand and it'll kind of cake together, but no water will squeeze out. If it cakes together but no water squeezes out, you know that your ratio is good. And then you want to get it up to temperature in your incubator. Now, once you have the eggs, I just like to sink them. You can use a lot of different substrates, perlite, vermiculite. If you really want to make it easy, you can get Hatch Right online. You can order that, and it is all ready. All you have to do is pull it out of the bag and put it in the tote or the tub, and then put the eggs on it. That's the, I guess, the easiest way, but it is significantly more expensive than buying a huge bag of vermiculite like I did. If you get vermiculite, I would recommend grade A3 if you can find it. My feed store just didn't have it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use press and seal to cover the whole thing. And what this does is a couple things. So you'll notice that I set the eggs up so that they can touch each other. That's fine. I just usually like to give them a little space. And I pack the sides around them so that they're secure. But you don't want them touching the edges of your tote, because what's going to happen, your tub, I'm sorry. What's going to happen as they incubate is condensation is going to start to form, because the press and seal is helping to keep the humidity in. You want to keep it as high as possible, as close to 100% as possible. So condensation will form along the edges. It'll even form on the top of the press and seal. If standing water gets on the eggs, it can cause them to start molding, which can ultimately kill the egg if you don't catch it in time. So this is the best way to keep the humidity high without having an issue with condensation. So as long as they're not touching the walls, no condensation there, and this will keep it from dripping. It holds real well on here, even better than just on a lid. Is the press and seal absolutely necessary? It is not. That's just always the way I've done it. Once you do that, you can close the lid and put it in your incubator. Again, you want to make sure that your substrate is in there before you put the eggs in it, if at all possible, to make sure that it gets up to temperature. Now let's talk about this clutch after that little segue. So this is my banana pied het VPI exanthic to a VPI exanthic, possible het pied female. So I'm really hopeful that she'll prove out het pied for me. Let me get this tub in the incubator, and then I'll tell you a little bit about her history and why I'm pretty excited about this clutch. Hang on. So also, I always write the 60-day mark. It should take roughly 60 days, depending on your incubation temperature. I always like to put the date right there in big letters so I can look through the window on the incubator and I can see when I need to start paying more attention to those eggs. All right, so there you have it. It is in the incubator. That's clutch 5 for us for the season. Very exciting. She did lay a couple days early, but no big deal. It's not an exact science, like I've said before. That just kind of happened. So this female, she was, last time I weighed her was right at 1,900 grams, which is a pretty good weight for a breeding female. I like for them to be over 2,000 grams, but not everyone's going to get there. This is actually the smallest female I've ever had breed for me. She actually laid eggs 2 years ago, and she was 1,280 grams. Now, some people might look at me and say, well, you shouldn't have paired her up. And generally, I would agree with that. So what happens is a lot of times at the start of the breeding season, females get very, very hungry, and they will feed very aggressively. They'll take multiple meals. I like to feed multiple smaller meals, like small rats, rather than going with a medium rat, just so it's a little easier on their body as they're building those follicles. So a lot of times, once a female starts to get in the mentality of breeding, she will eat very aggressively and will put on 4, 5, 6, 700 plus grams. I've had some females go up even like 1,000 grams during the period in which they're pairing to breed. So this girl was she was giving me all the signs that she wanted to breed, and she started attacking food. So I thought, I'll pair her one time. Right? Sometimes you pair that male the first time and it helps trigger that feeding response that gets them to start putting on the weight as they prepare their follicles. I didn't ultrasound her. I didn't have an ultrasound back then. So just her behavior made me think she's wanting to breed. So I'll pair her once, and then maybe she'll go on feed. I can put 500 or 600 grams on her, and then pair her again, and she'll be ready to give me a healthy clutch. Well, surprise was on me. She was more ready than I knew. So even at 1,280 grams, I paired her. She went off food immediately, and I had eggs less than 4 months from the time I paired her for the first time till she laid eggs, which is kind of crazy. Just so you know, once they ovulate, it's roughly 50 or so days before they'll lay eggs. So she was already almost at 40 millimeter follicles, ready to ovulate about the time I paired her. So one pairing was all it took, and she was ready to go. I've never had one go that fast after being paired, except for her. It was a small clutch. I only got 4 eggs from her. They all looked great at the start, but 2 of those went bad fairly early in incubation. They didn't even make it halfway. And of the 2 eggs that did make it full term, both hatched. One was completely normal. He was great. He's fine. I actually still have him in the other rack. But the other one was severely deformed, very kinked. In fact, bad enough that I thought it had actually passed in the egg until I pulled the baby out of the egg and saw just the slightest amount of movement. But it was actually one of the worst deformations that I've had. And so I had to euthanize that baby. Like I said, the other one's done good. So last year I didn't pair her at all. I just wanted to focus on getting her back healthy and eating, which she did just fine, and getting her weight up before I tried to pair her again. So no pairings last season. I paired her up this year with my banana VPI male in hopes that we can hopefully get some VPI exanthic pieds. Some people call those lightning pieds, although I think officially it's got to be a particular line to truly be considered a lightning pied, but that's become common terminology in the industry for an exanthic pied. So hopefully she proves out, and we'll get some exanthic pieds and some banana exanthic pieds. But we got 6 chances to figure out. There should be a 50-50 chance per egg that she'll give us a visual if she is indeed het pied. So we should know for sure at the end of the season, assuming that the eggs stay healthy as they look right now and they go all the way. So sorry about that dialogue. It's a lot of information, but another exciting clutch. Hopefully we'll get some really cool results from this year, and the mystery of her heritage being het pied will be solved, because I've never shed tested her or anything like that. But this is finding out the old-fashioned way. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. I hope the information is helpful to you. Feel free to leave any questions you might have down below, and I'll do my best to answer for you. And remember, take the opportunities that you get and share the love of reptiles with anybody you can. See you guys later.